Hello ladies and gentlemen in YouTube. This video we're going to talk about the Lee powder measure kit. These are great kits. A lot of people call them the dipper kits, several different slang names for them. But this is the improved version. It's been out for a little while, I don't know how long, but they've been manufacturing dippers for quite a while. This one says improved powder measure kit, and it's 2 extra measures, and it's got an improved slide card. So, and they have 95 powders listed. So, saying over 1,300 loads. So that's a lot. Now, anyone that's ever bought a die set from Lee, like say this 357 die set, it comes with a dipper. The die sets come with great accessories like the case it holds is good. You got 3 dies, you got a shell holder, and then this dipper. And then also with the instructions, you've got some load data in there too. And a lot of people are like, hey, this dipper I get with this die set doesn't cover a lot of this load data. And that's true. That's why it's important. If you're going to use a dipper, go ahead and get the dipper kit. Because this one dipper may work for IMR 4227 or H110 or whatever, but it's not going to cover all those powders that you can load for that particular cartridge. So that's where the little die kit comes in handy. And so how I use it myself, any kind of loads that I develop myself that don't have data, I'll use these. But for those that you want to stick with data to use it on, you really need Lee's book. Now Lee's book is, the way it's set up is set up to use these. It's set up for that cubic centimeters. So if we look at 9mm, that's what I'm planning on loading next. And we go to the 115 grain. See if I can put this in camera right here. So if we go to the 115 grain and we look at tight group, we notice the starting grains on this for tight group is 3.9 grains. Now if you look right over next to it, this next column, it says the volume in cc's right here. That volume in cc's is going to be 0.33. And then the auto disc says 0.32. And then it says Lee dipper right here. Lee dipper. Let's go back over there. The 0.3. Now 0.3 is definitely smaller than 0.33. But they're giving you a range because they're saying the starting load's 3.9. And then the max load is 4.3. So if you ever see these and it says NA, it doesn't show anything for the Lee dipper. That's why, because it's either greatly exceeding that or exceeding it, period, or it's going to go below that. So it's not lining up. That's why it's important to get one of these. So, and their slide chart is really cool. So we get the slide chart out. Basically, it's got the powders on both sides so you can flip it over. And then you just slide it up. And then you look for the powder type. So whatever powder type you're going to be using, you're going to find it right here. And we're using tight group. So we're going to run that up until we see tight group. Oh, I went past it. Long shot, one I use a lot of. So tight group right there. I don't know if you can see this in the camera. The one that's not included in the kit is the 0.17, so that would give us approximately 2 grains, and the 0.3 would be approximately 3.5. So you notice that puts us in between that start. Well, actually not in between the start and the max, but depending on how you dip and how consistent you are dipping, that is going to determine how many grains you get. Now when I use these as a starting point. You can use them strictly on their own, but I use them as a starting point to get the grains I want, I use this chart saying I want to go under just a little bit, and depending on how I scoop it, and if I, shake it off, or if I, just brush it off with a card, then I'll trickle. So it's basically just a starting point, and then I'll trickle up. That's how I use them. Now, some loads, like say for my blackout using IMR 4227, I've got a dipper in here that actually works great for that load, for a plinking load. So I can scoop it up, and I'm consistent in how I scoop it. And I want to say it's either the 1.0 or the 1.3 cc, but I'll put it in my little container. I'll drop it down in there. I'll let it fill, and I bring it up, and then I'll take a card and I'll just wipe the top off, and I'll check weight every now and then and hit it on my scale. But it hits right about where I want that load. It's not overly high, so if I get a few tenths of a grain over, it's not going to be detrimental on my load. But that's for a plinking load. Now I wouldn't necessarily use these for target loads where I want to be consistent in what I do. I would use them to start with, but I'd always trickle up. So I know there's some confusion when it comes to using these. You can use them. The ones you get in your die set, you may not be able to use them as much for as many different powders. So that's why I purchased this, so I would have a little bit more flexibility. And you don't necessarily have to buy these. I mean, you could make your own. I'm not suggesting that, but I've got a buddy of mine that he's made a dipper out of an old case. Like I could take this 380 case and fill the bottom in like it is right there, or actually just leave the primer in there and just solder me a little thing, and then I could cut this off and file it, and I could make my own dipper. That's possible. Will it be as consistent as these? Well, probably not. You're talking brass, and powder can stick to it. You still got the flash hole in the bottom. If you could fill that in, with some JB Weld or something, that would probably be a little bit more consistent. But powder dippers, I like them. You get these kits anywhere from like $9 up to like $15. I paid like $13.74 from my local retailer for this, and I haven't used it a great deal. Most of everything I've used has been on this end for pistol loads, and I got a few for rifle that I've used, but they're mostly just a startup. So it's just like a powder drop, basically, but you're doing it manually, and you have to manually wipe that. So there, maybe in a later episode I'll show a little, a few tricks I use for wiping it. But I just wanted to give you a brief explanation on using these dipper kits. They work great if you use them correctly. Don't depend on them solely. If you're at the top of that load, and like let's just say the charge is 10 grains max, and you're pulling one out that's like, it's saying that it could do 9.5 grains, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be 9.5, because it's how you actually dip it that's going to determine it. So you really need a scale to test how consistent you're dipping. Even if you pull out 10 dips, put them in there and weigh them, and then divide it and see what your average is. But you definitely want to make sure that you're not using them where you're at the top of that. So if a few little granules lay over and you're a tenth above, or a couple of tenths, you're not in that danger zone, that red zone. So just a brief overview of the Lee dippers. I know I hadn't made a video in a while, so maybe I'll make one later actually doing it. But there you go. Pick them up. You can get them at your local retailer. I don't think I'd pay over $15 for these. If you're paying over $15, you're probably paying too much. But you can get these online. You can get your local retailer. A lot of different places have them, and they're definitely worth the money. It just speeds up the process just a little bit, so that way you're not guessing as you dump and then trickle up. So, but definitely if you're getting close to that, trickle up. And you can also customize these. You know, if you buy 2 kits, or say you get 1 kit and you got a couple that comes in your die set, you know, you can take one and you can even, you know, file it down. You know, you can take some of the top off right there, file it down, make it a little bit smaller, and that'll be a custom one. Just make sure you write on it, right in this area right here. You know, put a mark, maybe write what it's, you know, what it's for, so that way it doesn't fall off. And then you can keep that in your die set, or you can just throw it in here. But, you know, make sure you keep your regular ones regular, and if you change them, you make a note on there. I would even say, just to be safe, in case the writing falls off, I would take a file and just file a groove in the handle right here, so that way you know for sure that, hey, this one's, it's been modified. You know, I'm not sure exactly what, you know, what CC it is now, but it's definitely not original. So you can always take down, you can't add back, so be careful with that. But even if you bought two sets and you use one to customize, and you could just note the whole box and, you know, hit a little mark on all of them. If you do it that way, you can always mark, if you know exactly what CC or whatever you're using, you can just make a note up there. I'm not doing that. I load a fair amount of ammo, but I'm not one of those that load a whole lot. I don't think I do. So I just plink around. So anyway, enjoy yourself. You know, hand loading is all about getting involved in the sport, enjoying it, and learning. So there's a lot you can learn when it comes to using these kits. Get you a couple of books. You got to have this. If you buy a used one and you don't have the slide chart, you're asking for trouble. But they're so inexpensive. You know, you can save up a couple dollars a week for a month or two and have it. And definitely one reason why this book is, you know, worth having is for getting accessories like this, you know, that you can use and it works together. So give it a shot. Let me know what you think. If anybody's got one, has got any tips they want to throw in the comments, or even attach another video, one of your videos, and let us know. You know, if you got any suggestions or helpful tips on these. I haven't used this kit long. I think I've had it maybe a year or two. Before that, I didn't even use the dippers. So I just thought, heck, let me try the dippers. So that's what we're doing now. But anyway, ladies, gentlemen, enjoy yourself, have fun, and I'll see you on the next video.